Hi, I'm Nick Winston. I'm a director and choreographer, and I work in theatre and in opera and TV.
Yay! You can go home now. No, I'm joking. Amazing. So tell us a little bit about, for the people that are watching, what is a director and a choreographer and how do they differ?
So a director of a, let's say, musical, because that's the field I work mainly in,
Yeah.
will uh, probably possibly be hired by a producer who has the title for a musical, and then the director will go around about choosing the creative team, which means the designer, the lighting designer, the musical director, the video designer. Uh, and then with that team, they'll start to design the look of the show. So they'll choose how it's going to be presented. And then he'll work with the casting director and cast the show. So go through a couple of weeks of auditions, and basically sets out the tone for the whole piece and is responsible for almost every aspect of the show that you end up seeing. One of the people he might choose to employ would be a choreographer. So that's another person in the creative team, and a choreographer is responsible for all the dance that you see in the show. Sometimes, depending on their relationship with the director or what the director wants them to do, they might be responsible for all the musical staging. So anytime there's anything sung, they might be in charge of the steps, as it were, where the people go. And a lot of the times choreographers also do a lot of the scene changes, so they choreograph the movement of the set and stuff.
Yeah. Wow, amazing. So no pressure then.
No, none at all.
Oh, amazing. So how do you get into something like that? So when you were younger, did you go down the performing route and then kind of like, oh yeah, this sounds like something I'd like to be able to do? Or were you more kind of creative? How did you happen upon directing?
Yeah, well, everyone's path is obviously different. Mine was I started dancing at the age of 4, which I did until I was 28. And during my time dancing, from I think the age of 12 or 13, I started to choreograph as well,
Okay.
because the music I was into was not the music that was being played at dance schools. So quite a
Okay.
rock fan,
Yeah.
and I wanted to dance to Bon Jovi rather than George Gershwin. So I started to choreograph my own pieces for like dance festivals and stuff, and then went to college and carried on choreographing there. And then as a performer, I went into West End musicals, which I did for about 10 years, but I was always choreographing on the side. And then
Yeah.
when I was 28, 29, I decided that I wanted to concentrate on the creative aspect,
Yeah.
and gave up dancing and moved into the creative side.
Amazing. So you've always kind of had that vision then to kind of put things together.
Yeah, it's always been a passion. I'm really into movies. I still am, and when I was a kid, I was very much into Spielberg, and remember watching E.T. like 5 times at the cinema, and Indiana Jones. Used to watch it and try and recreate things, and so I always wanted to be a director. I think I wanted to direct film. That was probably my passion when I was younger, but
Yeah.
I've stayed in the theatre world.
Yeah, amazing. So, what is the journey like then to becoming a director, particularly? So, how do you go from being a performer then and then going into directing?
Well, it was easy to go from a performer to a choreographer, and also
Yeah,
as a
sure.
performer, sort of like the dance captain, or on Beauty and the Beast in London, I was the assistant choreographer. So I was always sort of halfway in the on the creative side.
Yeah.
Anyway, then there's a college in London called Mount View, and I started to choreograph there while I was still performing, doing musicals for them. And one of the musicals I did, the director, she got sick and
Okay.
she had to leave, so they asked me to take over direction,
Yeah.
and I did, and I loved it. And then I got to direct the next show there at the college, which was fun. And then I started a collaboration with a director called Hannah Chiswick, who was the artistic director of Harrogate Theatre,
Yeah.
and I choreographed a couple of shows for her, and then we co-directed Eight Misbehaving together. So it was always running alongside the
Yeah.
direction with the choreography. And then I really concentrated on choreography for about 10 years, and turned down a few opportunities to direct things. And then, over the last 5-6 years, I've decided that I really want to concentrate on the direction as well now.
Yeah, and which would you say was the most challenging for you out of the two, directing or choreographing?
I think choreographing is more time consuming.
Hmm.
Preparing, big dance numbers takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
So I find it more, I guess, find that more challenging.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed directing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as a director, what kind of director are you? Are you a real planner, or do you love to see what you've got on the stage and then kind of work kind of on the spot? Or do you like to have a visualization in mind before you get to the rehearsal room?
Yeah, I think as a director, like you have to make a lot of choices before you get to the rehearsal room. So especially when got a designer show, so you have to work with the designer to create the set. So you're already making choices about the
Yeah.
costumes that people are wearing for the rehearsal room. When you're casting the show, you're deciding like what those characters are.
Yeah.
In terms of blocking scenes, like I wouldn't necessarily plan anything out, but um, yes, I kind of have an idea, but it's not too fixed because I
Yeah.
want to be in the room and respond to what is happening in the rehearsal room.
Yeah, it's like an overall visualization, but
Yeah,
then not too specific, pinpointing scenes and things like that.
yeah. Maybe the
Yeah,
reverse of painting by numbers. So it's almost like I know what the picture is, but not where how we match all the pieces up.
absolutely. I think that's the thing. Like, obviously, I direct things on much smaller scale, and yeah, the children that I work with are always like, I don't understand like how you come in and I've planned what we're gonna block, but I haven't
Yeah.
planned how we're gonna block it. And they're like, I
Uh-huh.
don't understand why. And I'm like, well, because I need to see what we've got first. And they're like, yeah, but you know who we are, you know what we. And I'm like, it's different though, isn't it? It's the energy, I think. And
Yeah.
sometimes you'll hear the read through and you're like, oh,
Mm.
okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of like thrown a little curveball in there, and that's actually not how I was going to plan that. But
Yeah.
now hearing the way you've done that, I really I prefer your kind of version of how you were taking that. So
Yeah.
now in my head, I've got to kind of rejig that blocking that particular scene.
Yeah, I think you have to be adaptable to what the actor's
Massively.
doing.
Yeah.
Sort of there he's there to serve the story, but to serve them as well. So,
Yes.
yeah, it's good. I think the older I get, the more confident I am in the room to be less prepared in a way, or not over prepared. Probably be a better use of the word.
Yes, definitely. And what about collaborating with your team then? How important do you think that is, to be kind of on the same wavelength and open to everybody's suggestions? Because,
Mhm.
do you make the kind of the final call then on what's happening with everything?
Yeah, most of the time, because I mean there has to be a vision,
Yeah.
but I love collaborating and when I'm directing and choreographing, obviously there's not many other people in the room. There's a musical director to work with, but when we get into the technical side of things, I love working with the lighting designer, the video designer, the sound designer. I'm really into the production side of things, and I think that's really important. And I work with the same people quite a lot.
Yeah.
Uh, and we've built up a language and we know what each other likes, but it's good to have those people because I guess after a while they're not scared to tell you their opinion as well,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
you don't get offended. You're all there just to do the best job you can do.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's really great like being a team effort because you can
Hmm.
kind of when you're maybe something's not quite working for you and you're not quite sure why, and then someone else jumps on board and says, well, could it be, aesthetically this is why it's not piecing it together for you, or this is what's
Yeah.
missing, and it's always really great to have some other people there to kind of bounce ideas off of as well, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that's one thing I miss directing and choreographing is not sort of having someone next to me to bounce off. Although I
Yeah.
do have good associates, so I
Yeah.
do bounce off them as well.
Amazing. So, talk about your wow moments so far in your career then. Are there particular standout moments? Is it too difficult to talk about a few, or, there's quite a
Uh,
lot?
I think I did the last production of Fame that went out on tour,
Yeah.
and we had Misha Paris in the show, and my cat wants to say hello.
Hello. Ah, I love cats. We've got two cats. Hello, Bubba.
Hey, Naboo. Um, So yeah, I did. The Press Night of Fame in Manchester was quite extraordinary.
Yeah.
Misha Paris sang "These Are My Children" in Act Two, and the whole audience stood up mid-show, and I've never had that ever in my life.
Yeah.
A mid-show standing ovation, and that was so exciting. And I think it was such a different representation of the piece that, and a lot of people in the audience knew the show, how it had been done before, and I think there was a real excitement there. So I love that. That was a
Yeah.
good moment.
Definitely. And is it really nice to do kind of adaptations of shows that you've seen before, or do you like new material? You know, kind of what do you favour, or do you like both in different ways?
Definitely both in different ways. When you work on a new piece, it is a lot harder. Um, I guess I'm trying to think of the new shows I've done. They've been successful, but they haven't been massively successful because the writing process is difficult. And with a revival or an adaptation, all that groundwork's been done, so you just concentrate on what you're doing with it. Sorry, my cat's playing with the Christmas baubles.
It's fine. I know, don't let them near a tree. Do not let them near the tree.
So all the decorations start from halfway up.
Absolutely, yeah, I know. Everyone's like, what's happened to the bottom half of your tree? Yeah, it's cat proof. No, absolutely. And what would you say are the challenges of being a director then? What would you say are the biggest things that maybe, you find quite tough in that role?
I quite dislike the first day rehearsals.
Yeah.
That's quite nerve-wracking. That you have to do a speech and express your vision, and you can have so many things going on in your head, but to articulate them, and then to articulate them openly in front of a company, and hope they're all on board and not judging what you're thinking, and are you making it clear? I mean, that's quite tough. I mean, I feel really lucky to do what I do, so. I mean, there are challenges. I guess working within a budget is a challenge, but they're all good challenges. I mean, I don't have anything to complain about.
Absolutely, absolutely. So is there anybody that you'd really love to collaborate with? Is there somebody particular, maybe like another director or a choreographer or an MD, anybody that you think, oh, that would be so cool to work with?
Yeah, and loads of people. I'm sure there are. There's so many talented people out there. Um, gosh, like Matthew Warchus, I think, is a genius. I'd love to
Yeah.
work with him. And I'm sure there's, loads of music writers that I'd love to work with. Yeah, loads of people.
I know, it's so hard, isn't it? Oh, I put you on the spot. It's so difficult
That's
to
all right.
think of people. What
Yeah.
about kind of like a show in particular? Is there anything that that's already been written that you'd love to get your hands on and kind of like either remaster, rework, or just do it
Yeah.
to your kind of
Yeah.
visualization?
Well, there's a huge list of shows that I'd love to do. Aida has always been like at the top three. Elton John and Tim Rice. I saw it on Broadway. It was actually going to be the associate originally when it was originally done. I think someone else has got the show, and it's going to come to the UK without me, unfortunately. And I used to really want to do, when people asked me the question before, I was like, oh, I'd love to turn Back to the Future into a musical, but
Yes.
I'm not doing that. But yes, I'd love to do Superstar. I'd love to do Sunset Boulevard. Love to do Hair. Love to do The Wiz. Loads of great shows.
And have you got a particular kind of style of show that you love?
Well, it's interesting because I'm quite diverse in what I do. So I do classic and quite pop commercial rock shows, and I love rock music, so I do enjoy doing rock shows. So I mean, I'd love to do Rent. That would be a great show to do, and Aida's kind of pop rock score as well. So I guess I think I'm more drawn to those.
Absolutely. And you said before about doing operas and stuff. How is that? Because they're huge,
Yeah.
On a different, are they on a totally different scale,
Yeah, I mean, I've only ever choreographed or been a movement director on an opera, not directed one. But yeah, it's a different dynamic in the room. In the opera rehearsal room, the conductor is in charge, not the director.
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting. And opera singers, in terms of movement, they're they're not musical theatre performers.
Sparse. Yeah.
So there are challenges, and also it's very odd that they, like, in musical theatre would count the music, but they don't, because they know how it sits on the page and in the bar. I remember my first rehearsal for the opera with the chorus and saying, all right, you're going to come 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you're going to come on, and they just didn't know what I was talking about.
Yeah.
I showed them where it is in the score, and I had to show them, like, okay. But yeah, the scale is different. It's a very well funded opera, and the rehearsal room there's normally a replica set or similar in the rehearsal room, so it is nice to have those tools.
Yes, absolutely. Very, very different.
Of course, is operas still perform with massive orchestras, so you get to hear these wonderful scores with big orchestras.
Beautiful. Yes, yeah. Very, very different, but equally as magical.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Definitely. So what about performance venue then? Have you had a favourite performance venue to stage a show in?
I don't think I've got a favourite. I love the Birmingham Hippodrome. I love sitting in the Emporium. I think that's fantastic theatre. I really enjoyed Hope Mill, which is obviously the opposite to the Hippodrome. It's a tiny little theatre. And there's a theatre in Linz, which I did an American in Paris in, which is stunning. It's absolutely beautiful. So that's sort of like an opera house.
Yeah.
But,
so a few favourites. A few.
Yeah.
So how would you say you love to relax and unwind? Because it can be quite a stressful job when, there's quite a lot on your shoulders there. What would you do if you had some free time?
Well, I've had quite a lot of free time recently.
No, have you?
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is, like, before the lockdown and everything, I was working quite hard, and I was like, I've had some time off. I'd really like to play my PlayStation, but I've hardly turned it on in the last 9 months, so I obviously don't really want to play it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I love movies, so I like to chill out and watch a film. And during this, I've started to run, which I've never done in my life, which I've really enjoyed. And I like football, so
nice. Yes. That's it, isn't it? Anything to kind of like, do you totally love to take your mind off of work?
No.
Totally love to switch off? No. Can you ever switch off?
No, I don't think so. No.
Everyone says this to me all the time. They're like, just chill out. And I've said to myself, like, my last day of work is Monday, and then I'm going to take 2 weeks off over Christmas. And every single person has said to me, you've said that for the last 5 years. And I'm like, no, I will. And they're like, you won't.
Yeah.
And like, this year will be the first year that we won't be doing a show next term, because I usually write the show the term just gone, and then I get it through like all the costumes and performance venue, and then we're in rehearsal then next term to perform in like March, April time. Well, obviously we're not doing that this year, so everyone's like, you don't have an excuse to be planning out rehearsals, like and I'm like, no, exactly. So I'll be fine. And they're like, we know you won't. It's so difficult when you've got a company sat there and you've got so many ideas running in your mind, and you're like, but we could do this, and that would be really cool. And I'm always forever and a day like either that, or I'm badgering people for like, can you come down and do this? And have you checked that? And I'm terrible. And it's so hard to like totally remove yourself from it.
Yeah. But I think you have to love it to do this job. So like, it's not something you want to get away from. It's hard to do this job and get into this industry and to maintain a career. So you put all that work in. Like, why would you want to switch off?
And also, I feel like it's part of you. Like even your downtime. Like, I always say my downtime is like finding extracts for my Saturday kids to do, or like downtime is contacting people to come and like do workshops and stuff. That's my downtime. And people are like, that's not downtime, Jen. That's like, and I'm like, well, it is if I've got a glass of wine. It is though.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, last night I watched The Prom on Netflix, and then this morning I was watching Anne Reinking on YouTube and stuff. So
beautiful performer, absolutely beautiful, incredible. I know, and that's the thing. It's research all the time as well, isn't it? constantly trying to like reinvent things and see what other people are doing, so that you're kind of like, you never want to be behind, do you? You never want,
Yeah.
you never want to feel out of the loop, always trying to learn new things and talk to different people and get different ideas
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
time.
Don't stop.
Never, absolutely never. So a totally random question now. If you were a superhero, what would your superhero name be, and what
Oh,
superpower would you have?
I'll definitely fly. My name.
Oh, that's a good one. Nobody said flying so far. How
Really?
weird. No.
God, I'd love to fly.
Yeah, good one.
Save so much money on travel.
You would. I'd
Yeah.
love to teleport. You could just
No traffic.
gone. No, absolutely not.
Oh gosh,
What do you
what
reckon
would
you'd
my
be
name be?
called?
I
Yeah.
don't know. Winnie.
I love it. Winnie who flies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely. Brilliant. So, lockdown then, what were you said you had quite a lot of free time. Were there any projects that you had unfortunately cancelled or postponed, or were you working on things kind of behind the scenes?
So I was supposed to do We Will Rock You, the New World Tour that was going to launch in South Africa in June.
Okay.
That's been postponed twice now, so they're now looking at next summer for that to
Okay.
happen. Yeah, I was going to do a show in Paris that hasn't been announced. Hopefully that will happen still another time. And then I
Yeah.
was going to do two pantomimes, which were cancelled, but the Cheltenham pantomime we did a reduced pantomime, so that opened
Oh,
last week. So
yay.
that's good. I've been really lucky. I think since August I've been working. So I did
Amazing.
a musical called Fanny and Stella, and followed by a musical called Pippin at the Garden Theatre in London. And
Brilliant.
then I did Beauty and the Beast. We had 7 weeks of Beauty and the Beast auditions, so
Oh, wow.
that kept me very busy.
Yes, I bet 7 weeks.
Yeah,
Is it
I think
done? Are you cast?
no, I think we got one person still to cast. So
What?
yeah, it was
Oh my
amazing. Like I've never done 7 weeks before, and I was thinking, why is it going to take that long? But it was such a good experience, and to do that because the people that we would have chosen for the role after 2 weeks were different from the people we chose after the 7 weeks, and just because people I remember actors going, oh, I've been in 4 or 5 times, but then you see people develop over those
Absolutely.
4 or 5 weeks, and I think it's been a really good experience.
Yeah. And do you find that the longer period auditions, you get to kind of really know the people and see more of them rather than just in one audition? It's so difficult to,
Hmm.
having been on that side of it auditioning, it's so difficult to try and get your point across in like a couple of bars,
Uh,
a little bit of something else, and like a tiny extract. You're just like, right, okay, how am I gonna, it's really really tough, whereas when you're asked to be seen more than once for different, maybe workshopping as well, you
uh,
feel a little bit more relaxed and a little bit, there's
mhm.
more that you can showcase rather than just everything fitting on one very small
Yeah, no,
short audition.
it's been great because you don't want to give too many notes in an audition.
Mm.
But Pip Raylene, who was the casting director, we'd discuss the people, and then she'd feed the notes back through the agent, and then the people
Mm.
come back, and you could see their works on the notes, and I've never experienced that before. That's been great. Yeah, and I think you do get to know the people that are coming in, and there'd be acting calls or movement calls. So by the time they came to the movement call, they'd been in a couple of times, so it was a bit more relaxed.
Yes.
Um, yeah, it was a really nice experience.
Amazing. So when do you start rehearsals for this then?
April the 5th next year. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, how exciting.
yeah,
Amazing. So this is the one that's going on tour, right?
yeah. That's right.
Yes, because we've booked
No.
our tickets for this.
Oh, great.
We do. I want to say we're going to Bristol.
Yeah.
Bristol. Yeah, yeah. So my little niece is 4 and she
Oh,
is obsessed with anything Disney. Yeah, I took her to her first show. So we've got a local theatre, Torch Theatre here in Pembrokeshire,
mhm.
and there was a touring show of something to do with dinosaurs. I can't remember what it
Oh,
was. And it's main, yeah. mainly like puppets and. Do you know what, Nick? Genuinely, she didn't move.
Really?
She did not move the whole, and it was 45 minutes. That's a long time for a small child. Loves it. She
Yeah.
absolutely loves. She loves the show. Yeah, and all the little ones that do on CBeebies and stuff now. You know, they stream a lot of them. She'll sit there and watch all of them. Yeah, and
Okay.
all the shows that I do with my kids. She's like, oh, Jen's doing a show, and she'll come and she will sit there and she will watch all of it, and anything that the kids do that's like too late that we have recorded, I'll show her and she'll just sit there and she'll watch it. So she is buzzing to come and watch Beauty
Oh,
and the Beast.
that's amazing. Well, I'm sure she'll enjoy it.
Oh, I think she will. Well, she'll be
Yeah.
nearly 5, so yeah, she will. She will absolutely love it. And how do you kind of like go and plan on something that's so kind of iconic? It's such a big,
Yeah.
you know, how do you plan for that?
So for Beauty, I'm the associate director. So it's actually the Broadway director and choreographer. Not recreating the show. It's a brand new version of Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
So I'm more assisting them in the process.
Yeah.
So it's quite nice because I'm just seeing other people really do all the work, and it's very exciting
Yeah.
to work for Disney and just to see the design process. And I haven't done the show 20 years ago, and it's just very nice to be back. It's
Yeah.
just such a family, creative team. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
That's wonderful. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. How exciting. And does it bring like the magic alive for you then, being part of the team? Because when you're on stage, you know, that you get all that feedback, you know, you get that
Mhm.
recipient from the audience, don't you? You get that buzz, that feeling.
Yeah.
When you're part of the creative team, do you get that too?
I think yes, but maybe it's not constant. I mean,
Yeah.
remember when I did Cats last year at Kilworth? You know, obviously it was a lot of hard work to get Cats on a brand new production, and I remember, you know, doing the show and doing tech and doing previews and people responding like very well and
Yes.
loving it, but I never got to sit and watch it. And then I had to go to South Africa for We Will Rock You afterwards for auditions, and then I had to go to Japan for auditions for chess. And then so I came back after 4 weeks of not seeing the show at all.
Yeah.
I remember sitting and watching it and like being really proud of what I'd done. But if I hadn't been away from the show, I don't think I would have been able to be objective and watch it in that way. Because
Yes.
like trying to fix everything and, you know, make it right. Or
Yeah,
give
absolutely. It's hard, isn't it? It's hard to when you've put all that hard work in, but you know that it's not, when it's a one-off show, you know, there's no notes, there's no, you've
yeah.
done it, and there it is. Whereas, you know, when you've got a nice long run, you go, okay, it was good, but you know, we want to tweak this, and what the hell
Yeah.
happened with that, and what were you, you know, absolutely. And sometimes, do you find that it's never complete for you?
Oh
Do you
yeah.
ever have that? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think sometimes that shows don't finish rehearsing; they just run out of rehearsal time. So, yeah, I'm sure, you know, directors and choreographers would love to carry on working, rehearsing and endlessly, but producers want the shows to be on.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
sometimes, you know, once you've seen it kind of in its full glory with an audience, it's
Hmm.
like, oh, I'd love to just have another week after you've just done that to recreate some of, and
Yeah.
just change that bit and
Yeah.
just tweak that. Yeah.
What's been nice on some of the shows we've done, like Annie, is that they get revived. So I think we've done 4 or 5 productions of Annie, and it's just nice to go back every time and make it better, tweak, yeah.
And how do you find like working with casts that change? So obviously with things like Annie, you know, you've got
Mhm.
set A of cast, set B, you know, so how do you find that? Is that really tricky? Because, you know, have you got one vision for the whole and you want it all to look exactly the same, or do you just take each team as it comes and kind of, you know, work with them as best as you can?
No, I think respond to the cast, the
Mm.
company. So it's quite nice
Yeah.
to have new people, and they'll have different skill sets. It's nice to choreograph to their best abilities, rather than trying to shoehorn them into the person before, how
Yeah.
they did it. So yeah, it's good. It's good to keep evolving.
Yeah, and I guess it must be really tricky because, like, obviously Monday night you've got team A, Tuesday night you've got team B,
Yeah,
Wednesday night you're back on team. So that must be really strange because obviously, but amazing because people could watch Monday nights and Tuesday nights could be very, very different.
yeah, yeah. It's good. They all the kids in Annie always brought something different to the show,
Yeah,
and they all had each team had their own sort of tone, I guess.
yeah,
Um, led by the Annies, who were all incredible. But it was nice, and it was good for the other actors in the show because they're bouncing off different performances, so it doesn't become stale.
yeah. And how do you find working with children? Because they
It's,
always say don't work with kids or animals, right?
uh,
And I'm
and,
always like, oh, that's me screwed.
no, I mean kids are honest, aren't they? They're really honest, and
Brutally.
uh, I think they're so truthful when they act. If you pick the right children, they can only be honest. The same with animals. They can
Yeah.
only be an animal. They can't
Yeah.
pretend to be anything else or
Yeah.
feel anything else. So yeah, it's great. The first time we did Annie, we had 30 orphans in the orphanage. That was a West Yorkshire Playhouse, and the first time they did Hard Knock Life completely in the rehearsal room. That was another moment in my career which was really a real put a pin in that moment because it was really
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I think they give you something that you don't get from adults.
yeah,
I think, like you said about the honesty, adults are like, look, let's like they're there for a reason. Let's channel it. Let's.
mm,
Whereas kids, a lot of the time, like they're doing it because it's fun,
yeah,
and because it's
yeah,
fun that they're bringing the fun element to it, and
mm-hmm.
when they're really on it and they're really feeling it, there's no other rehearsal room like it. It's like
Yeah,
it just explodes.
uh-huh.
And like you say, they're not afraid to come and say to you, Jen, you said to me that I have to walk in from stage left, or can I just make a suggestion? And you're just like, yeah, go for it, yeah. All the time. What I've done is I've changed your script here because I don't really think this works. You're
Yeah,
like, okay, great, yeah. But 9 times out of 10, they're bang on the money. Like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
don't want to tell them, but actually, yeah,
So,
that was way better than what I was gonna do. So talking about a shop, if you could open your own shop, no, money is no object, what would your shop be called, and what would you sell in your shop?
I would sell movie memorabilia.
Oh, yes.
Uh, I guess I'd call it Nick's Emporium or Winston's Emporium. That's quite cool.
Yes. That is very cool. You hang on to that. Don't
Um,
don't sell that one.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah, that would be
that's where I
really
used to
cool.
spend all my money on when I was, my 20s.
Did you?
Because yeah, there was a shop in London that used to sell movie memorabilia, and I used to buy first editions of Star Wars board games and things.
Yes. I know. I'm really like I love stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I do. I love it. And like films and TV, and people are like, "Why have you got that?" And I'm like, "Don't know. Just saw
Have
it." And
you been to MGM Studios, Disney?
no, yes, when we were younger. Yeah, but
Yeah,
we were like decades ago. Yeah.
they sell some costumes there from movies, and I'm sure it's not. I'm sure they're all replicas, but
But it's so cool, isn't it?
yeah.
So cool. Absolutely. And if you
Might,
had
might be just my lightsaber here.
I can't. Oh yes, I can see it. That is
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, Star
That
Wars.
is that is very cool. Hey, why not? Love it. And if you had a fancy dress party to go to, who would you dress up as?
I'd go as the Invisible Man and not turn up. Couldn't think of worse.
Do you hate them? Do you? That's
Yeah.
so funny. That's so funny. No, absolutely not.
Yeah, just
What
text it.
about
Yeah.
yeah, I'm here. Can you not see me? It's
Yeah.
great party. And what about a dinner party? If you had to host a dinner party, what
Yeah.
food would you serve? And which 5 guests would you invite? Anyone in the
My
world.
my cooking or have we got catering?
Well, I mean, you can cook if you want, but I mean,
Just get catering in.
I would say so. It's quite,
Yeah.
it's a big deal.
I'd get. Uh, mm, Yeah, I think I'll have to go Thai food then.
Ooh, good. Yeah.
Well, I definitely have Steven Spielberg,
Yep.
Harrison Ford. Oh, is it five? Harrison
Yeah.
Ford, um, Paul Stanley, who's the lead singer of Kiss.
Yep.
Uh, I want to say Alfred Hitchcock,
Okay. This is a very, very cool group of people.
and then my nan.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. Would you just all just sit there and talk all night?
I'd hope so. Or it could be
Yeah.
really awkward, couldn't it? It could be like nothing to talk about. You don't know them.
Nothing. Yeah, that's the thing. They've done so much between them. Like,
Yeah,
but if you don't know, you might just be the whole weather's nice today, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's really awkward.
It could be. It could be really awkward. So
Yeah.
talk us through what's next for you then. 2021. You say you've got Beauty and the Beast coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you see the year planning out? All being well.
Well, I hope,
Who
you know,
knows?
hopefully it's all going to kick off again and everything's going to be all right.
Yeah.
Rock of Ages is going back out on tour, which is exciting. There might be another production of Rock of Ages, or might be another two productions of Rock of Ages as well, which I
I love
can't
that show.
talk about. Then the show in Paris that I was going to do, hopefully that's going to come through. And then there's
Nice.
another show I was meant to do this January, just about to happen, which we're not doing. That hasn't been announced. That's in London,
Okay.
and all I'm telling you is there's a load of shows that I'm not allowed to talk about. That
That's
hopefully,
okay. Fingers crossed. I know it's so difficult at the moment, isn't it? Because nobody quite knows what's happening, and you can
Mhm.
you can plan it to the best of your ability, but if they
Yeah,
pull the plug, they pull the plug.
yeah. I'm hoping it's going to be okay. But
Yeah.
whoever thought it was going to last this long? And at the beginning, I thought a couple of months,
Yeah,
it'd all be
max.
over. Yeah.
I know, but we were supposed to do our big show in March, and yeah, we're still hanging off it because
Hmm.
I think that the thing is a lot of people have said, I work closely with a friend of mine who has her own production company, and she films a lot of our stuff, which is amazing, and people say, well, just have it filmed, and you're like,
Yeah.
when you've worked so hard for it to be in front of an audience, you're like, it's not. And also we haven't done it for film. I've done it for a stage.
Yeah.
I've blocked it for an audience. I haven't blocked it for cameras.
Hmm.
So it's like, then you've got to turn it all around and do it totally differently, and then you've got to look at your venues, and it's just like, no. I don't want to have to do that. So we're still hanging off for that, and just really hoping that maybe summer of 2021 we'll be able to do it.
Sure. I'm
But
sure. Fingers crossed.
absolutely, fingers crossed. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today.
That's all right. Thank you for having me.
No worries at all.
And
Yes.
your niece will enjoy Beauty and the Beast in Bristol.
Oh yes, I'll let you know. I'll let you know
Yeah.
what she thinks.
Very good.
She will love it. She will love it. Absolutely. Well, take care of yourself. Thank you so much for chatting with me today, and I'll send you the link when it goes up on the channel anyways.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Amazing. No worries at all. Take care of yourself.
Thank you so much, Nick. I had such a wonderful time chatting with you, and fingers crossed for everything in 2021. I know for a fact that me and my family can't wait to come and watch Beauty and the Beast. Best of luck. Hope you're all okay, everyone. I mean, more lockdowns and things. Oh, so tricky, and just anyone else really bored? Anyone else still got Quality Street that they're, chomping away? Mine's all gone. Lots more amazing guests still to come. Thank you so much for still watching. Take care.